Welcome back to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I'm here with our guest star, Bernard Cassidy. He has successfully answered 7 questions right and is nearing the $1 million pot. So Bernard, you told me you grew up in a small, poor village.
Yes. Both my parents are goat farmers.
And what kind of goat?
Egyptian goat. We have 17.
Oh.
We feed the table. We make our living. We try to survive.
And now for the $250,000 question. Are you ready? What is a conic section? A. An assortment of tropical fruit from the Himalayan region. B. The section of the blue jean where the zipper connects to both legs of the pant. C. The figure formed by the intersection of a plane and a right circular cone. D. The second wealthiest district of Rome.
The second wealthiest region of Rome is Tortellini. That can't be the right answer. My final answer is C. The intersection of a plane to a right circular cone.
Are you sure?
Final answer.
You are correct. And now for our $500,000 question. What is the generic polar equation capable of defining each conic section? That is, the parabola, hyperbola, circle, and ellipse. A. R equals ED all over 1 plus E cosine theta. B. R equals the max height of a traffic cone minus its circumference. C. R equals minus B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC all over 2A.
My answer is A. R equals ED all over 1 plus or minus E cosine of theta.
Are you positive?
Yes.
Congratulations, you are correct. We'll be right back after this short commercial break. Come with us.
Where are you taking me?
What did I do? What's wrong? No! Get out!
I've been doing this show for 20 years. The last person to go through questions as easy as you was Will Stroop, who was caught cheating. So now I ask you, how do you know these questions?
I just know the answers. I know them. I'm not cheating.
How do you know them?
It was all back 2 years ago. I was walking down the sidewalk when an old man swept me into his house, and he taught me everything I needed to know about conic sections.
Hey, young boy. Come learn about conic sections. I have a lot to teach you. I can see that you can be smart. Come here. Okay, young boy. A conic section is a shape formed by the plane intersecting a circular cone. As you can see in this diagram, if the plane is positioned parallel to the base of the cone, a circle is created. With a slight angle, an ellipse is created. With an angle so that the lines of the plane do not fully meet and they are instead intersected by the base of the cone, you have a parabola. And a plane that is positioned perpendicular to the base of the cone creates a hyperbola. Now, the equations for these shapes in rectangular form are given here. X squared plus y squared equals r squared for a circle. For a parabola, y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. And for an ellipse, x squared over a plus y squared over b equals 1. And a and b in both the parabola and the ellipse change the shift and the stretch of the conic section. Now I'll tell you about the polar equations. The polar world is much more complicated, young boy. Time to learn. Okay, the formula for these polar equations for conic sections are given in the here. R equals ED over 1 plus or minus E cosine of theta. Or plus or minus sine of theta. If you use sine, the shape will position along the y-axis. And if you use cosine, it will be positioned along the x-axis. If you have a plus sign, the shape will be facing downwards, or if you have a minus sign, it will be facing upwards. So for example, if you have a parabola with sine and a minus sign, so minus sine, your shape will look like this. But if you have plus cosine, you will see a parabola that looks like this. Now, E is the eccentricity. If E equals 1, the shape given is a parabola. If E is between 1 and 0, then it is an ellipse. Here are example equations. R equals 4 over 1 minus sine of theta. So here we have a parabola facing upwards because of the minus sign, and along the y-axis because it is a sine function, not a cosine. Here's an ellipse. R equals 3 over 1 plus 1/2 cosine of theta. Because 1/2 is between 0 and 1, we have an ellipse. This graph will be positioned like this. Do you have any questions, my boy, Bernard?
What if the equation is not simplified?
Great question, Bernard. As we can see here, we have an unsimplified equation. R equals 24 divided by 6 minus 2 sine of theta. Because there is a 6 here instead of a 1, it is not simplified. So first, we divide the numerator by 6. 24 divided by 6 is 4. So that will be our new numerator in the simplified equation. Here we have 24 divided by 2. In order to find the coefficient of sine in the simplified equation, we must set 24 over 2 equal to 4 over x. Doing cross multiplication and simplifying the fraction, we see that x equals 1/3. The eccentricity is thus 1/3, creating an ellipse because E is less than 1 and greater than 0. So here's our final equation. 4 in the numerator, the simplified 1 because we divided out the 6, and 1/3 for our eccentricity. R equals 4 divided by 1 minus 1/3 sine of theta. So now you might be asking, how do I graph this? Well, you can plug in 0 for theta and pi for theta and see what points you get. So here we plug in 0. 4 minus 1/3 sine of 0 gives you the point 4. So if theta equals 0, R equals 4, we have the point 40. Now we have the point when theta is equal to pi. 4 divided by 1 minus 1/3 sine of pi gives us 4 pi. Okay, so here's our point 40, and here's our point 4 pi. Here's how we graph it. The ellipse is shaped like so. So we have the top arc, but every ellipse is symmetric. So we can now draw the bottom. This is the graph of the ellipse.
And now, for the $1 million question. 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 buckaroos. The unsimplified polar equation for a conic section is R equals 15 over 3 minus 2 cosine theta. Please draw a sketch of the resulting figure alongside its simplified equation.
I first must divide out the 3. 15 divided by 3 equals 5. And I know that my 15 divided by 2 must now equal 5 over x. Doing math, I know that 10 equals 15x, x equals 2/3. My new equation, R equals 5 over 1 minus 2/3 cosine of theta. My E value here is 2/3, so I know my equation is an ellipse. This is my simplified equation, but I must make a sketch.
You can plug in 0 for theta and pi for theta and see what points you get.
I will now plug in 0 for theta. 5 over 1 minus 2/3 times the cosine of 0 equals 15. I now have the point 15, 0. Now I must plug in pi for theta. 5 over 1 minus 2/3 cosine of pi. Plugging this in, I see the value for r is 3. Now I have the point 3 pi. I now have my simplified equation in 2 points on the graph. Knowing that this is a minus sign, my ellipse will go to the right. And because it is a cosine, it will hug the x-axis. I can now sketch my graph. The point 15, 0 with no rotation will be here. If I put r equals 3 and rotate pi, my point will be here. I can now connect these points, forming an ellipse.
But every ellipse is symmetric.
And I know that the ellipse has a line of symmetry, so I can draw the bottom of the graph. This is my final answer.
So close. You came here a poor man, and now you are a millionaire!